on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Planning Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Southborough's website, www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting or participate in the public hearing may do so in the following manner. Again, go back to www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. We will now go to our agenda. First item on the agenda is a discussion item, organization of the board. Karina.
So as you know, Mimi was re-elected to the planning board for a 5-year term. So once that happens, the planning board typically, if I recall, checks on their organization if they want to change anything or if they're going to hold all positions where they are, as far as chair, vice chair.
The first part of that would be a motion to congratulate Mrs. Luttrell. Mr. Mills.
I make a motion, we congratulate Ms. Luttrell on her overwhelming majority approval by the town to be for another 5 years on the planning board. Amazing accomplishment. Well done.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mimi, glad you're part of the board. Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to enjoy 5 more years. It was a grueling campaign, just by the way.
Well, you handled it so well. You went high, you just did an amazing job versus your opponents.
Such poise and polish always. So glad to have you still on the team.
A lot of hard work and many long hours, Mimi. We know. We appreciate it. Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
I will abstain.
Lillian, yes.
Very good. Back to the organization of the board. Once again, if no one else wants to be the chair, I will gladly take on that task for another year.
I would make a motion that Mr. Morris be chairman of the planning board for another year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Morris abstain.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Luttrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Thank you. Karina, other positions?
I'm happy to relieve my vice chairship if someone else is passionate about it. I would let if it's okay to rotate it around and give some of that responsibility to someone else if need be, but otherwise I'm honored to fulfill those shoes again.
Make a motion to reappoint Andrew Mills as vice chair of the planning board.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills abstaining for my marriage.
Stein, yes.
Luttrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Other appointments to other tasks or committees, Karina?
Not at this time. We'll be working on a spreadsheet for the June meeting for any master plan committee updates to membership and I'm sorry, Open Space Preservation Commission? I'm not sure, but there's 2. There's master plan committee and another one. I'm sorry, it just fails my memory.
EPC.
The what?
appointment to the CPC.
Oh, yeah, there'll be various planning board representatives appointed or recommended for appointment to the Board of Selectmen for those committees. But there are two committees directly under the planning board for the full membership.
Public Works Planning Board?
Yes, there may be one of those coming up as well. But we have a
So that'll-
spreadsheet.
All of that will be on the agenda for our next meeting.
Yes, one of the two June meetings, since the terms typically expire June 30th.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Master Plan Committee update. Mrs. Latrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next meeting is June 10th, and just want to point out it is a Thursday night instead of our usual Wednesday. We had to do some birthday avoidance, so we are on a Thursday night. Judith, Sarah, and I did meet on May 12th just to make sure that Sarah had all the information she needed as far as data that needed to be updated. And we also just touched base to make sure we all felt we were moving in the right direction. Judith was going to reach out to a couple of people just to check on the status of their chapters, but overall, we felt that we're in pretty good shape. I don't think we'll be finished by June 30th, so we may have to reappoint some members, but I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a draft to present at the special town meeting this fall. Thank you.
That's great. That's great news, Mimi. Excellent. Always forward progress on that. Any questions, comments?
No, just again, a thank you, Mimi, for all the hard work you've put into this. Appreciate it.
Very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a discussion item, Isla Bella Estates bond estimate / lot release. I think I'm going to ask the town planner to cover this and if appropriate, recognize the very rapid and professional response from town council. Karina.
Okay, we do have Jack Bartolini in the attendees.
We do.
If we can elevate him so he can
Sure.
speak to this. Okay, well, he's joining us. So previously we were asked by Jack Bartolini of Bartolini Builders to have 4 of the lots released at Isla Bella Estates off of Mount Vickery Road. And what we did not have in place was a covenant. No, what we did have, I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit mixed up. Okay, so we had Fuss and O'Neill go out, what we needed was a bond. So we had a covenant in place, but we needed a bond to assure that the costs of finishing the job were in place in case something happened from a developer's point of perspective. So we had Fuss and O'Neill go out and do an inspection on May 5th. Which they did. They turned that around relatively quickly. And in the information we provided you, they provided a cost estimate in the amount of $175,440 to cover the cost of still putting down the top course of the roadway, adjusting the structures. There is lumen seed, there's landscaping, there was a head wall riprap, seeding, monumentation, as-built, etc. So there was a complete list. That information was provided to Jack Bartolini. And they provided us with a draft bond, which then went to town council for review. That was turned around very rapidly. And Jack Bartolini and his son Michael made the required changes. of which included, when you're talking, to add by and through its planning board as obligee to the legal language. They needed to clarify their insurance company to make sure that they were able to, that they were appropriate and could do business as they said. And the bond also had previously said Bartolini Properties instead of Bartolini Builders. So because Bartolini Builders is the proponent, they had to iron that out on the bond. So Jack Bartolini did that, and they provided us with a new original bond acceptable to town council. And that's where we are. We have a draft release of lot from the covenant for Isla Bella Estates for lots 3, 4, 9, and 10. And those are the lots that on the map are about halfway up the roadway on either side.
No, wait a minute.
What?
You're saying I'm asking for all the lots to be released.
Oh, well, the original request said those 4 lots. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
but that was only when I could get, I didn't know I was live here, but that's only when I can get when I didn't have the bond. Now that I have the bond, I want them all released.
Oh, well, I didn't get an updated request letter, so I was still assuming you were asking for the 4. I misunderstood.
No, I'm not gonna place $175,000 surety on something and not get everything. I thought that was understood. When you turned me
No.
down, I thought that was understood that I had to get the bond for the total amount of everything. So they're all supposed to be released.
Well, that can be an adjustment depending on the planning board's response to your request. It'd be good if tomorrow you can just send me an updated request letter, because we usually file.
I will,
that.
I'll be happy to. I can understand how that confusion, I didn't even think about it. I just assumed that we were releasing all the lots based on
Yeah.
the fact that I got turned down for the no bond 4-lot release.
Yeah, well, we had to follow proper protocol, that's why.
No, that's fine. I
No, you
understand that. That's fine.
Yeah, you weren't turned down, it's just that everything wasn't in place yet, so.
So now I have everything in place. I should be able to
No.
get everything.
We'll see, we'll have to see what the planning board says. I'm the
All right, the only one
administrator.
I have on the screen is you. So, okay, looks like you and I are just talking to each other.
Well, no, Jack, you should be seeing everybody.
I'm
Everybody's
not- All
on.
I'm seeing is you. I didn't think I was on.
I'm not really sure. It might be the way.
Oh,
that
now I
you-
see Sarah.
It's probably how you have it set up. Sometimes it's set on speaker view
That's
only.
I don't know what I did. Maybe that's all right. But anyway, I'm looking for all the lots to be released. There's
So
no
that's
reason
the-
not to. They're all secured.
All right, so Dawn, that's the update to this point. I can assure you that a revised bond was received. We have the original document. And I can also attest to the fact that town council opined on his final review of the final bond that thank you for providing that information, nothing further needed.
Okay, what's the difference between the 4 lots and all the lots? How many more lots would it be?
There are 11 lots total, one of which you recall, lot 1 will have to be an affordable duplex before, when he has 75% of them built, he's required to then build the affordable duplex on lot 1. So there's 11 total lots.
I'll open it up to the board. Any questions, comments?
So are we voting? Do we need to vote to amend the request, approve that amendment to the request, and then vote on that? Or like, how are we proceeding exactly, Mr. Chairman?
I think you have to, oh, okay, go ahead.
No, we've clearly showed the record that what Mr. Bartolini is saying is understandable and consistent with where we are at this point. He has made, I'm not sure if it was in the form of a request or a demand, but he has indicated to the board that he wants all of the lots released. He's done that verbally, and has agreed to follow up in writing, either later tonight or tomorrow. So I think, based on that, we would be able to entertain a motion to release all of the lots, not just the 4.
John, do you have to accept the bond or the estimate, the bond review, right?
Yes, we would, I think in the past, what we've done, and it's appropriate that we would have a motion to either approve the bond as written, or a motion to revise the bond up or down, as we would think appropriate. And if that passes, then we would move on to lot releases. So if we want to take a look at the bond document, if we're comfortable with that, then we should entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
I would just- okay.
I'll second it, but for discussion, we didn't hear from Mimi or Marnie.
So
I have no
procedurally,
questions.
okay,
And I was just looking at the actual bond, and it does say for the whole subdivision, it doesn't specify that it's just a certain number of properties, so I'm fine with it.
so any more discussion on the motion to approve the bond document?
I would just like to point out for the record that there were some minor things in the inspection report that would likely be covered under the contingency of the bond estimate. There was a contingency of 29,000, so there were some minor things, as some, cleaning the detention basin out. There was some small tree growth that started there, some slope stabilization, little small, very small piece of sidewalk base to be repaired. And then if the stockpiles remained on site, there were some stockpiles that they should have erosion control around them. And I believe those would be, those items were most likely covered under the contingency if there was an issue.
Anything else from you, Jack?
No, I mean, the stockpiles have growth on them, so they are stable. And the minor sidewalk repair is covered under the paving of the final coat of the sidewalk. So and then there are some minor little cleanup details, but that's, there's some brick and debris around, but that's based for the raising of the catch basins and things like that. So it's really kind of normal work as a subdivision is being built.
Anyone else? So we have a motion to approve the bond document. Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
So the next item would be to release all the lots or some other number.
I make a motion that we release all the lots for Hyabella Estates as requested by the applicant.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Mrs. Houlihan.
Would we make a qualifier that pending the, I know Mr. Bartolini just said he'd put in another request, but pending a written request for full lot versus just the 4 that we currently have from March?
So amended.
When would the town planner get that, Jack?
I'll get it to you tomorrow. I apologize. I just assumed that since that we were talking about all the lots, since the bond covered all the lots. I never thought about it till tonight that that other request was there. So I can get you that tomorrow.
Super.
Okay. Motion's been made and amended. Any more discussion? All in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. Any other business on this agenda item?
I just want to point out that as a final step, that once I update the notice of release of the lots, I'll have to have the planning board members sign that document, and then it has to be notarized. So we'll do it like we did just recently. And then once that's done, we'll file it with town clerk, and then Jack can pick up an attested copy from the town clerk for recording.
Very good.
Jack, if you have any questions, you can call me at the office and we'll answer.
No, that
them.
sounds fine. I just,
Okay.
just curiosity, are you guys gonna be open for business live pretty soon, since everything gets lifted? What is it, this weekend, I think?
The townhouse is now, I believe the townhouse is now open. There's a sign on the door they just put up today.
Oh, okay.
So that's my
I
understanding.
think it's June 1st, but there's
Oh,
a
June
sign up.
1st.
I think
Okay.
there's a sign up that says, we're open June 1st.
Thanks, Sarah.
Small.
Finally.
So the door is still locked. You have to have an appointment to come in, but June 1st, the door is going to be unlocked, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And one last compliment to town council. Despite being jammed with the town meeting and other workload, he still was able to get through this paperwork and get it in writing back to the town planner. Excellent job. We really appreciate him supporting the workload that we send his way. Next item on the agenda is a discussion item, 16 Clifford Road, accessory apartment. Karina,
All right, Sarah, we have Jason Kurtz in the attendee list. He's the property owner's architect.
Yes, he's.
can we get the drawings on the screen?
Yep.
So Jason Kurtz is architect with Kurtz Design Studio LLC, 168 Middle Road, Southborough, Mass. And he provided an application for an accessory apartment. And just to recap, when a property owner applies to the zoning board for an accessory apartment, which is a public hearing through the Zoning Board of Appeals, planning board, the proponent is to come to the planning board to get a report from the planning board to the ZBA on recommending that the accessory apartment be allowed with conditions or not, or just as it is. So Mr. Kurtz is here today to explain at 16 Clifford Street what they're proposing to do at that existing home.
Hello, thank you for having us. So my client purchased this home in 2020, and the existing home in its previous life at one point had like an in-home daycare. So like the basement area is broken into a bunch of rooms because I think they used them as different kinds of rooms for that use. It also has utility space, and there's, a large rec room space as well. On the first floor level, because this is a ranch with almost like a walkout basement, a lot of it is, close to being at grade. On the first floor level, if you go up one, so at the first floor level, there's currently, actually, can you go to the demo? Thank you. So currently on this level, there's a master bedroom. There's a kid's bedroom where their daughter sleeps. Then down below, what is listed as bedroom number 3, that is where her mother currently is residing, and what is listed as bedroom number 4 right now on the previous submissions, it's being used as an office. The full intended use of it is as an office. If it would satisfy everybody by just removing the closet so that it can remain as like an office or a den, that would be the ideal situation. The system for this septic is sized for a 4-bedroom. Currently, there are 4 bedrooms. In the previous owner, the area that we're doing the construction is listed as previous studio. It was being used basically as like a studio apartment for somebody that was living there minus like a full kitchen. And so what we're trying to do is transform that previous studio into the first floor level of the accessory apartment. If you go to the proposed first floor for me. We're transforming that, proposed or that existing like previous studio into the living room. We want to put in a full kitchen for her mother. It has, an entrance area, a little area for her desk. And then the existing staircase just to the area above it, yep, right there, that takes you down into the basement currently. We were going to cordon that piece off to be an internal staircase for the accessory apartment, which takes you to the basement for her bedroom. The only way that this can work is if they do one of 3 things. They basically convert the one technical like bedroom that was bedroom number 4 on the first drawing. If that is seen as an office or a den, by removing the closet, I guess is the typical way to do it. The upgrade the system to 5 bedrooms, because if we didn't do that and the building department only sees it as a bedroom, then they would end up having a 5-bedroom and it's a 4-bedroom septic. The most extreme measure that my client would prefer not to do is remove the wall in between the 2 rooms, as they are intending to potentially have 1 more child, and that would become the next child's bedroom. But they still need to maintain some kind of office space because she works a lot from home. So the primary interest is in maintaining it as a 4-bedroom, removing closets and whatever they have to do so that that room is considered an office and not a bedroom. That way everything falls under conforming for the septic system. We're just trying to reuse a lot of the interior space so that her mother can basically live with them much more comfortably. The septic system, as I said, is sized for a 4-bedroom. The parking spaces that are on site, there's 2 garage parking spaces, plus the driveway is easily able to accommodate upwards of 6 vehicles. It's a fairly large driveway if any of you have been over by there. At this time, I'm not sure if there's any questions that you guys have or if there's any concerns or anything like that. The main goal is to reuse the existing space, make it look from the outside like it blends with the neighborhood. You would never know that there's an accessory apartment here. And just make sure that the curb appeal, works for the neighborhood.
Jason, could you just do one thing and explain what that room is to the right of the deck with the bathroom and the closet off of that?
Yeah, so like they don't actually use it for any, it's like a pass-through room because like I said, this was totally different than a residential use in its past life. I guess you could put a pool table maybe there, but they don't actually use that space for anything. They store some boxes and stuff there occasionally. The dining area is in the front of the house, and then they have like a small eat-in kitchen table to the right of the island.
Karina, this afternoon, you and I went over this a little bit. And is there an update to your earlier concerns, or do you still have questions?
I still do have a concern, and I was discussing this with Jason Kurtz earlier today as well. It's very important that, the septic system can handle the number of bedrooms. So when you design a septic system, it's based on the number of bedrooms in a house. And a bedroom is qualified under building code certain ways, and it's, has a closet, a window, and other features that Jason can probably tell you more about. So it would appear that, Jason, that you really have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. 1, 2, yep. And then you have a studio area that you're going to convert to a kitchen, an accessory kitchen, an apartment unit there, and a living area. And then downstairs in the basement, you're going to add another bedroom. So originally, your existing floor plan showed an office where bedroom 3 is, and to the right of bedroom 3 was a bedroom, and you had a wall there.
Mhm.
So I think it's critical to confirm with the Board of Health. I think their understanding, and I could be wrong, that you were just swapping out a bedroom, and they thought you had 4 bedrooms, and that's what was being swapped out. So it could become a problem for the homeowner if now you're showing, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 bedrooms, plus you're adding one for a septic system that has an as-built for 4.
Where's the 5th bedroom that you were mentioning? Because you have the master, and then
That's
you have,
one right there.
that's
And
one.
then if you go south, you have
2.
2. Now
Yeah.
go left.
Yep.
That area that's non-defined, I think that might be considered a bedroom because you have a bathroom and a closet. And then
There's no way to get to the other rooms without walking through there, because that's a step up. That's like a walkway, and then it steps up.
Okay, so that would be like a code enforcement, or the building commissioner could opine if that's
Okay.
a bedroom or not, because she knows building code
Yeah.
way better than I do. But you still have now 4
Right.
potential bedrooms plus the one you're adding in the basement. And I know you mentioned that the owner really will do anything they need to not have to address the septic issue at all, because I know that's expensive. And removing that wall between the office and bedroom 3 and making that into 1 bedroom, I'm not, that could be an option, but the plans have to be provided in a definitive sense. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the owner had said to me that they, let's go off, I guess, the notion that the one room that you mentioned being like bedroom number 3 or whatever off the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that is, if that's not really considered a bedroom, because I don't see how it can be, but let's say theoretically it's not for this argument.
Mhm.
They currently have 4 bedrooms, plus they had that like studio space. And if we were to, worst case scenario, it have to upgrade the system to a 5-bedroom septic to accommodate the 4 existing bedrooms and then the 1 in the basement. My client has said that they would be more apt to do something along those lines than try to kind of configure this so that they have to start taking walls down inside of the first floor, where I kind of show where there was a bedroom and an office. I guess some of the question is, if we only make minor modifications to the office, is that considered, would that be considered an office or like a den type of setup versus a bedroom?
Yeah, so those are probably things that you'd have to square away with the building department, and then, have a plan. That's how I would think about it. I don't speak for the planning board or the zoning board, but that's how I would think of it. You'd have to actually present what you want to do. I know you're kind of figuring it out right now.
Well, we just kind of caught a little bit, because we're not going to go through the expense of creating a septic upgrade if it can be something as simple as modifying the closet, for instance, and now it's a 4-bedroom again. And at the same time, the reason that the building department, gave us the rejection letter is because we're trying to put in an accessory apartment. So like, it's a little
Yeah.
bit of a, what comes first,
But you
Does
do have to get a report from the Board of Health, and I'm not sure they understood what you were presenting them. I didn't see a
Well,
document
for the
that
Board
made
of
it clear.
for the Board of Health, it would end up being, if the building department says that that office is an office and not a bedroom, then it would be a 4-bedroom, and we weren't doing anything in violation to the 4-bedroom septic system.
Yeah, if you meet the codes and what's required, then that would make sense. I'm just not sure, how it's presented, but again, it's up to the planning board for their
Sure.
part to decide.
Okay, I think we have enough information to have, let's open this up to the planning board members. Mr. Mills, questions, comments?
Jason, I completely understand what your client is trying to do. I sympathize with, trying to make it accommodating for a parent. My kids actually went to the structure when it was a school. I'm familiar with the unique layout, I'll say, from pickup, drop off, seeing the kids at school there. I would be in favor of definitely going the route of removing that closet for that 1 bedroom and try to convert, making it the 4-bedroom house that way. So I'm comfortable with what's being proposed. Because in the end, if septic ends up getting overflowing or problems, it's going to be the onus on the homeowner to begin with. And it's going to have to get checked before they sell it. So I'm comfortable with it.
Thank you, Mr. Stein.
Question on the proposed bedroom number 4. Is that subterranean?
So can you go to the proposed basement,
Yes.
please?
Yep.
It's down on the bottom.
There you go.
It's not technically, it'll sit a couple of feet below grade. There's actually a door that walks out to an area that currently has a 3-foot wide by 3-foot deep patio, and then or exit, and then a couple steps up. My client wants to enlarge that lower portion by the door so that they can have a little patio area. Plus they're going to take the foundation wall and do a little bit of cutting to put in some, much larger windows. So it's going to meet it'll be more than sufficient in meeting any code, but it's actually going to have its own egress out of the basement.
I'm generally in favor of making the process to get accessory apartments easier in Southborough, as long as we're in compliance from Board of Health standpoint and from a safety standpoint in terms of egress.
Yeah. Now this is actually out of all the different renditions we did, this is easily the most desirable for both lighting, natural ventilation, and egress capabilities. If there happened to be a fire, she can literally walk out her bedroom door and be outside in 10 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Luttrell.
Thank you, Jason. So if it was a school before, I'm assuming there's plenty of parking and room for an extra car, and
Yeah.
those are no concerns.
Yeah, the parking is easily accommodated.
And so you have not received a report from the Board of Health?
We got a bunch of different emails from them stating approval and all these different things, but we never actually got a formal letter.
Okay.
And I copy and pasted and sent to Karina some of the emails that we received.
Right, I'm generally in support of accessory apartments, and this seems like a good plan. As long as things are worked out with the Board of Health and the building department with the septic and number of bedrooms, but that's not really our purview. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Houlihan.
I don't have any questions, and I follow in the steps of my fellow planning board members. Looks like ingress egress is fine, parking is fine. And again, as long as Board of Health and septic and all that is clear. To Mimi's point, we don't have that purview, but I think as long as it's a safe place, I fully support it.
Okay, thank you. From my point of view, I agree with my board members that this is has the great potential for an accessory apartment. Not only the structure and the yard and the paving and the parking, but the neighborhood. However, the report that we're required to submit, it seems like there's a couple of loose ends here, and I'm not quite sure what I'm voting for. You know, are you going to comply by modifying the septic system? Are you going to comply by modifying the plan and taking down a wall? Or is your compliance something else that we haven't discussed yet, or a combination of things? So my recommendation would be that you take the positive reaction from the planning board tonight and go through this in detail with your client, the Board of Health, and then submit a final plan that we can vote on, that we know what it's going to be. We know where the bedrooms are going to be. We know where the doors are going to be, know where the stairs are, so on, and what rooms are what. And so that would be my suggestion. I think it would be difficult for us to submit a report to the ZBA with these open items in discussion as well as on the plan.
Jason, did we lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm just processing. Because I mean, basically they only have two different directions they were going to go, either remove the closet and allow it to be called an office. And if they don't do that, they're going to upgrade the system to allow for a 5-bedroom, because they don't really want to remove the number of rooms in order to allow for potential, child down the road. So,
well, they should, to me, as far as I'm concerned, they should decide which way you're going to go and have the plan reflect that. Then we'll have something to vote on.
Yeah.
When's our next meeting?
Our next meeting is June 7th.
And how
Right.
many days do we have to respond to submit the report?
35 days. So let me see where we are here. So I don't know what time, when it starts from, though. It may be from when we received our application or when the zoning board of appeals received the application. I can tell you. Hold on. Here. Give me 1 second. Says here that special permits for accessory apartments may be issued upon referral of the application and receipt and consideration of a report, or after 35 days elapsed without such report from the Board of Health, certifying adequate provisions have been made in accordance with the requirements of the Board of Health for drainage and for disposal of sewage and waste generated by the occupancy of the apartment, and from the planning board describing the lot on which the dwelling is located, the neighborhood where it's located, and the effect of the proposed apartment thereon, the adequacy of ingress and egress provisions, about granting this, and, yeah, so, issued upon referral of and the receipt on or after 35 days have elapsed. So the special permit was received or submitted to the zoning board of appeals at, let me just look real quick here. The application was signed on April 8th. And I believe it was filed with the town clerk on April 21st, if I'm not mistaken. So on the zoning board of appeals agenda, under the item for this public hearing for them, it said application filed April 21st, 2021.
So
they
you're
were-
saying that almost all of the 35 days are gone?
The May 21st, yes. Yes,
And how long has the planning department had this?
since we received a phone call on the 13th of May, and we responded to Jason on the following Monday, Tuesday, which was the 17th or 18th. So we got it on a Thursday, and then we responded. And so he supplied us this information so we could get him onto this meeting.
So about 20 of the 35 days were gone before we received it.
Correct. I spoke with the building commissioner earlier today, and she did say that she had mentioned that they would have to come to planning when they were going through their process there. So I'm not sure why we weren't approached sooner. Could just be miscommunication, misunderstanding. But as soon as we got it, we tried to jump on it right away in order to get it on the next meeting. I believe, Jason, you were working on another one on Fisher Road as well at the time. And if that one was going to proceed, I think you were informed that you had to come to planning board for any accessory apartments. So,
That was more an informational inquiry from a client. That wasn't anything formal.
right, so, yeah, it also indicates it in the code that they have to come here. But, you know, everyone has different ways of how they look at the code and do what they have to do. Trying to be diplomatic.
So why don't I open it back up to the board? I'm the only one that got into this level of detail about not knowing what we're voting on. But so I'm just one of five. I think we should open this up to different ways to resolve this. Mr. Mills, any suggestions? Anyone want to go first?
Like I said, I'd be in favor of removing the closet from the bedroom that they want to eliminate. And not have to, if they don't have to take out the whole wall, try to be accommodating to the homeowner to bring in a parent / in-law for the future. That would be my approach.
John, maybe I could help by just saying that, to be a little clearer, when we drafted the report for this property, we basically say that the planning board met, we described the property. It's located on Clifford Street in a residential A district. The accessory apartment will be located partially on the first floor and in the basement of the existing dwelling. The proposed 1,105 square feet of accessory apartment located between the first and basement level is approximately 17.5% of the habitable floor area of 6,317 square feet for the dwelling. It's required to, it meets the 25% threshold. Then there's the discussion of adequacy of ingress and egress and provisions for off-street parking. Ingress and egress is via the existing driveway. For the building itself, there are 3 points of ingress and egress, one through the garage, one on the exterior of the dwelling, and one into the primary dwelling. Off-street parking is provided in the form of an existing driveway that holds up to 6 cars. The plans also include a 2-car garage. And then typically the reports will have the board voted so-and-so to recommend or not grant the special permit contingent upon favorable determination from the zoning board of appeals, also adding meeting the conditions for 25% threshold, that you're not exceeding that. But you can also add condition there if you're concerned about, and we're also concerned with the number of bedrooms in the septic system. Like you can say, the planning board can outline in a paragraph their concerns or bullet item them and recommend that to the zoning board of appeals in the report of what your findings were at this stage.
Okay. What, I just want to hear from the rest of the board.
Okay.
Were you all set, Andrew? Jesse?
I think I'm fine with what Karina has drafted with the language added that we specifically discussed the egress for the proposed 4th bedroom. And that the board, made it clear that the plan needs to be modified to address the number of bedrooms so that we're in compliance with the Board of Health. I don't think that we need to hold up the vote until that actually gets done personally, because we're only sending this letter to the ZBA. We're not actually approving a final plan, in my opinion. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Mrs. Luttrell?
I'm in agreement with what the town planner said, that we're in favor of granting the special permit contingent upon a report from the Board of Health certifying adequate provisions for disposal of sewage is what pulled right out of the special permit.
Okay. Mrs. Houlihan?
I too am in support of the contingency statement. So I follow my fellow planning board members.
That sounds like the way we'll go then. Is the draft report sufficient to be voted on?
It could be with just clarification of the detailed paragraph based on what the members, planning board members just described, specifically referencing the egress to the 4th bedroom in the basement. The plans need to be modified, should be modified to show and clarify the number of bedrooms to comply with Board of Health septic system requirements. Repeated by Mimi and Marnie. So those, clarification of the plans and that it should meet Board of Health requirements versus the number of bedrooms.
So does the board feel confident, based on what the town planner just said, to allow the town planner to take the draft and finalize it and have myself sign the report? I see 4 thumbs up. So that's the way we'll proceed then, Mr. Kurtz. Town planner will finish up the report. We'll entertain a motion to submit the report to the ZBA in accordance with what was discussed here tonight and the way forward as far as finalizing the draft.
So
Mr.
moved.
Mills,
Seconded.
motion's been made and seconded relative to the report. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. Anything else, Mr. Kurtz?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, good luck.
Fuck.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a discussion item, 96 Mount Vickery Road, Ruby Estates subdivision, the covenant.
Yes, this one also came about very quickly and everything addressed. So, Michael Bartolini with Bartolini Properties. As you recall, Planning Board recently approved the definitive subdivision plans for Ruby Estates off of 96 Mount Vickery Road. As part of the process, the Planning Board endorsed the final plans that were approved, and as well as referenced in the decision. And Michael Bartolini provided a draft covenant, which we then quickly submitted to Town Council for review. It was one revision requested by Town Council, and that was in section 5, line 4, after the words Planning Board, to add the phrase "for good cause shown," and that's in reference to the length of the covenant. The paragraph is that said construction and installation, if any, shall be completed within 2 years of the date of execution of this covenant, and upon failure to so complete and to so complete said construction and installation, unless the time of the performance thereof is extended by vote of the Planning Board for good cause shown, which shall be recorded, etc. So Michael Bartolini then made those revisions and provided us an updated covenant, which we returned to Town Council, upon which he said he was all set. And so the Planning Board needs to accept the covenant, and if it is and it gets recorded, then we can release the endorsed plans once the appeal period is open, lapsed, and town clerk has to sign off to attest on the plans as well that there's been no appeal since it's a subdivision.
Okay,
Sorry, that was a long sentence.
all right. Open it up to, Michael, did you have anything to add to that? Good evening.
How you doing? I just have one quick question. So if you do sign, release the covenant, I record that at the same time as the plans, correct? So like, I don't record the covenant first and then the plans. It's all at the same time, correct?
I believe, let me tell you quickly, it's right here.
I would think I would have to record, I would need to record the plan to record the covenant. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm recording nothing, right?
Before, yeah, it says before the board endorses its approval and signs the definitive plan and releases it to the applicant for recording, the applicant or the owner, that is the owners of the land, shall on a definitive plan and must deliver the board adequate security for the required construction of ways and installation of utilities and other requirements to serve the lots, one or more, in the form, and you've chosen a covenant. So within 10 days of release for recording of the approved definitive plan and covenant, if any, at the registry, the applicant shall notify the board in writing, presenting evidence of the recording of the plan and the covenant. So yes, you'll get both together. So if the planning board accepts the covenant and you fill in the blanks and we get the signed plans, which are already all signed by the planning board, down to the town clerk to review and attest that no appeal took place, then you can pick up all the information and get it recorded.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? I'll open it up to the board. Mr. Mills?
Mr. Chairman, until this one's finalized, I'm gonna still recuse myself as I did with the rest of the plan.
Thank you. Mr. Stein?
So Karina, if you could just refresh my memory, when do we get into the discussion of the bonding?
The bonding happens when, so Bartolini Properties will go out and they'll start building the roadway, the infrastructure and the roadway. And when they get to a certain point, for example, like where Isla Bella is now, where the base is down and, you know, the water is in and the electric line is in cable television, and they want to start selling the lots, they'll need them released. Before they can do that, they'll have to put a bond in place to cover the cost of any remaining work should the developer fail or leave or bankrupt or whatever, that the town can then assure that the people who have bought the lots from being released still have access and the project will finish. So they're not left with an unfinished road, et cetera.
Thank you.
All set, Mr. Stein? Okay, Mrs. Latrell, any questions, comments?
I'm all set, no questions, thank you.
Mrs. Houlihan?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Stein?
Oh, I would like to make a motion that the planning board accept the covenant as submitted for 96 Mount Vickery Road, Ruby Estates.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yeah?
Houlihan, yes.
All set, Michael?
Thank
So-
you. Just thank you for the quick turnaround on this one too. Thanks to Aldo, Karina, and Sarah. So,
No problem. We'll get you all we'll get it down to the town clerk and let you know when it's, the plans are ready to pick up.
okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you and best of luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is other business properly before the board. First item is the planner's report, and which is the warrant articles, project update, and then the performance review.
So the first thing I want to ask is on June 7th, planning board meeting, the Lisa Bracchio, who's current chair of the Board of Selectmen, asked if we could have a if they could post a joint meeting for that planning board meeting to discuss the downtown district. There was a list of 10 concerns that the planning board had back in April that we compiled into an email and sent to them. They've had Adam Costa reply with some responses, and they want to go over those with the planning board in order to start working towards fall town meeting and get some of that addressed. So they asked if the planning board would consider starting at 6 p.m. on June 7th instead of 7, because Adam Costa is available from 6 to 7. He has his town meeting that evening, but he could accommodate that. And the agenda right now only has our standard items, master plan, and then that discussion item. So it would be a good time to accommodate that if it's possible. So I'm asking if the planning board would be available to start at 6 p.m. on June 7th.
Looks like everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, I can do it.
Super.
Okay,
I'll let Lisa Bracchio know, and then she will update the Board of Selectmen and the EDC to join that meeting. Some feedback on some of the properties that were concerned, some of the granite companies that had their granite out in the driveway. It's my understanding after speaking with the building commissioner that both of those locations had remedied and removed the granite from the driveway areas close to Route 9. I'll confirm that again to make sure they're not there when I do some site visits over the next couple weeks. But I know that was a lingering question.
Karina, when did you get confirmation from the building inspector that it had been remedied?
We spoke
Recently.
this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went over several things and she mentioned that she believed that they had moved them. So,
So just for my own clarity,
yeah,
I understood that the granite shouldn't be out in front of the property for storage and display as a sign, not just if it's on the driveway.
well, that's where they had it. They
Okay.
had it in the driveway with a sign duct taped or somehow glued to the granite slab on a bracket that holds it in place,
Okay,
at least at one of the places. So we'll check the other one too. If there's some misunderstanding, we'll clarify that. And
thank you.
see what we can do. Okay. Where planning's required to have performance evaluations done and submitted by May 31st. So I'm working on those for Sarah, and Dawn and I are working on one for me. And just letting you know that those will be going in, and previously Dawn had reviewed those and signed off on them. So I just wanted to let you know that, and if that procedure would still be the same. They're due on May 31st.
You're right. All board members are entitled to review the written performance evaluation. And as soon as it's available, if you'd like, we would get that to all the members, or just allow the chairman to complete the process. Yeah,
So
Marnie?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind weighing in because I just think it was over the top support from Sarah and Karina on the lighting bylaw, and I really want to make sure that's acknowledged and put in writing.
You must know that there's a page limit.
You're
Thanks,
kidding,
Dawn.
right?
Yeah,
No,
no,
there
we're
is.
not.
There is a
it's-
page limit, right, Karina?
Yeah, we try to be pretty efficient because the personnel board and the town decided to shift all reviews to the end of the fiscal year to start for July 1st. All reviews come in now at the same time, and they try to do them under a consent agenda. And so they're reviewing like this huge pile. So there's a specific form that we fill out, and we fill in the details. So we'll make sure that once that draft is to that point, that we'll email it to the planning board members. And if there's anything you'd like to add or retract, we'll take those comments too, and we'll update those.
Can we make it single spaced and font 8?
We do that already.
No. All right. Yeah, I'd be happy to weigh in.
All right.
So why
Yeah,
don't we just,
I'd like to make sure that there are enough accolades for how fabulous Sarah and Karina are.
Absolutely.
Well, you're too kind, but thank you.
so why don't we just, go ahead, Andrew.
Don, I just wanted, this a little bit different, but while Sarah and Karina are getting reviewed, I would like to just say I'm open to feedback about myself as a planning board member. If there's anything from your guys' perspective that is holding you guys up from doing your job, I'd like to get that feedback. I know it might not always be the most easy thing to give, and I don't know if I am holding anything up, and I know you'd probably tell me anyhow, but I just want to verbalize that. So either please, let me know. I know, Karina, you ping me a lot along the way, but I don't want you to feel that this is just a one-way street. If there's things that I'm doing, and I'm sure the other board members feel the same way, and they would want to know, you can either reach out to me directly or go through Dawn, whatever works best, but it's definitely a two-way street. And Kate, same goes for you.
Sorry,
If
that's
there's
my house.
anything, Kate, from your standpoint that we should be doing better to make your job easier, please let us know, is what I mean.
Oh, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Andrew. I can speak for myself, and I know Sarah and I talk a lot, but all planning board members are extremely accessible for us. So when we do have an issue, we call, and all of you, Jesse, Andrew, Mimi, Marnie, and Dawn, when we call, you always answer our phone calls, and if you're busy or something, you return them very quickly. And just note that if we didn't get that, we'd email you too. So, but we have no complaints. You're all supporting us, and everyone has a contribution that they make to whatever we're doing. And each person is so valuable on this board from all their different perspectives that we appreciate all of your help.
Yes.
Everybody has their specialties and everybody has their time when they're really needed, and that's when they jump in. And all 5 members have been very accommodating to us. So we really love this planning board.
Oh, great.
Well,
Yes, thank you.
actually, that last discussion was not on the agenda. The performance evaluations was on the agenda. However, due to the nature of the comments, which were all positive toward the 5 of us, I was deliberately slow in cutting off the discussion because it's not on the agenda.
Well, technically, I think a performance review of ourselves would fall under that. So that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
If there's a way to make sure that they can be as efficient as possible, I think we were well within our means for the agenda item. And I'm sure if we weren't, Mr. Stivers would correct me immediately.
And he is watching.
We currently have 5 attendees.
Are there any more?
Oh, yes, real quickly. Just be aware, previously we sent you information on the housing choice, information to changes of the threshold for voting when it is in regard to certain aspects of affordable housing. There's a new updated May 20th version that we've provided to all of you. You might want to look at it prior to the downtown district discussion on the 7th. Southborough's Open Space Preservation Commission announces the launch of the National Wildlife Federation Community Wildlife Habitat Program. If you didn't get an e-alert through the town's website system, let me know. I may have forwarded the link to you for that information. There is a Working with 40B workshop on June 14th. If any of the planning board members are interested, let me or Sarah know and we'll get you signed up. The Accelerate bridges are moving forward. They're going to do a trial run above on the turnpike of how they're going to close lanes. Shouldn't be affecting underneath the local roads. And
Karina,
yeah.
Karina, back to the workshop on, I think it's, you said June 14th.
Yeah.
The flyer announcing that has the correct date, but on the screen, there was an additional like notice of it, and it said June 14th, 2020.
My typing or the actual the advertisement?
Just look at the email that you sent us, because when I first read it, I thought maybe I missed it last year, but it has the wrong year on that. You'll see it.
Okay. All right. The one I have does say it's this year, so I'll double
That's
check
the-
it. You don't sign up for something that's not there.
That's when I looked at it on the screen,
Mhm.
there were 2 like notices or whatever. The one on the left, which was I think prepared by Judy, was correct, and the right-hand side of the screen had another different type of a note referring to the same thing, but it had the wrong year.
Okay, I'll check. Wrong year. Okay. And then lastly, Chestnut Hill Farm Barn is having a barn raising on Thursday, May 27th from 1 to 2, where they're going to show they're going to start putting some of the timber framing up.
Can you spell raising?
RAISING, building of, they're putting it back up together. They're putting it back together.
No Z in that word.
No, they're not taking it down. It's the old barn being built back up.
Yep.
The trustees let us know that, so That's what I have for planners report. Sorry, so fast. I just want you to get it all.
Well, also on there was the warrant articles, and
Oh,
again,
yes.
at this point in the
Mhm.
meeting, again, if you saw the town meeting, the lighting bylaw both passed, but the lighting bylaw had quite a bit of discussion, technical and non-technical. A lot of it had to do with the cost of implementing it and continuing it. Some of it had to do with enforcement. But thanks to Mrs. Houlihan and Dr. Heilman, they were able to prevail through their presentation, and the bylaw passed by quite a bit, quite a few votes. So it was really an excellent job. And then Mrs. Luttrell on the site plan article, I was in the back and I could see that people were really following what you were saying, because you're referring to specific text that was being changed, and I thought it was very well presented. And again, that passed very comfortably. So I mean, that's just really an excellent job by the planning board members and the planning department to get through these code articles. The zoning articles are always very challenging to get passed, and it was a great success. A ton of work put into it, and great job, Mr. Mills.
Yeah, one thing, Mr. Chairman, Mimi, not to take away from your presentation, but for Marnie to go head to head with Mr. Cleary and win and get him to vote actually in favor of what she was proposing was a true testament to her preparedness and a stellar argument. I rarely see Mr. Cleary lose at the microphone at town meeting. So great job. Excellent.
Go ahead, Marnie.
Yeah, so interestingly, this is a little bit, I mean, we're talking about the warrant articles. I did receive, and I know Tim is still on the call, but I received an advocate outreach around American Disabilities Act. And I learned from this after this meeting that people with light sensitivity disabilities are being hurt severely by these lights, and they may suffer seizures, emotional terror, or disabling migraines. And there's an advocacy group that is looking to help particularly, and the new IDA guidelines actually lowered the illumination to even far below 3000 Kelvin. So there's more and more data coming out, and I will forward this on to the lighting working group, because I think there's, ever more information that we can learn and help our community. And, I just was really glad this person reached out.
And Dr. Heilman, based on my discussion with him at the end, and his wife, is expected to continue to provide input free of charge, of course, to you, Marnie. He was a really huge help on the technical side. And for you to learn all that stuff, it's amazing. Great job.
And Sarah. We couldn't have done it without Sarah. So, and Karina.
It was a pleasure to work with everybody, and I'm just really glad that the community, did finally receive and support it. So it's great. It's great news.
Great job, Sarah, as
Oh, thank
usual.
you. Thank you.
Anything else on the warrant articles? And you sent us the spreadsheet that the town administrator prepared, summarizing the actions on all the warrant articles. That was a pretty good product. I think that was pretty good. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to the next item. Approval
Make
of
a
minutes.
motion, we approve the minutes from May 10th, 2021 as written.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yeah?
Houlihan, yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is our next meeting is June 7th. And that's the one that's going to be at 6 PM.
Correct.
Okay. And Kate, if you subtract out the 6 minutes that we lost from a certain board member being late, we are at an hour and, what? Hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes.
Pretty good.
I love
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made to adjourn and seconded. Any discussion?
No, I just want to point out that I think I make up my time with making motions so quickly.
Good fact.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Hence your reappointment as vice chair.
Sure, that gets reflected in the minutes, Kate.
Duly noted.
That's Mr.
Motion-
Six Sigma.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.